Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of Cronkite Sports Live, where we are doubling down on national holidays, Andrew. St. Patrick's Day and Day 2 of March Madness. My bracket's busted. How's yours doing, Andrew?
Well, you know, Gavin, I think ASU not making the tournament helped eliminate our bias from our brackets, but at the same time, it allowed me to cross over to the dark side. I got U of A in my championship, and I feel a little dead inside.
You know, you're killing me a little bit, but you know what? Arizona State, they get them back on the women's side of things. That's right. Charlie Turner Thorne's girls are going dancing. Our own Chaz Frazier was there this week at the Carson Center when they found out.
The speculation in the guessing game is finally over. The Arizona State women's basketball team is headed to the big dance. I'm here at the Carson Center where the Sun Devils just found out that they were selected the number 8 seed for the NCAA National Tournament. Head coach Charlie Turner Thorne was a little disappointed in the team's seeding. She felt the committee should have gave the squad a little bit more respect after they finished 5th in the Pac-12, arguably one of the most competitive women's basketball conferences all throughout the nation.
Not saying I'm super excited about our seed. You know, I thought we'd probably be in the 5th ranked team in the top conference in the nation. We might have got a little higher seed, but you know, sometimes when we get a higher seed, we haven't done as well. When we've gotten a lower seed, we've done better.
When it comes to March Madness, experience is crucial, and ASU has a senior class that has made 4 consecutive tournament appearances. However, this time it's special. It's their last. It's simple. Win or go home.
Especially being a senior, I think, you know, as us seniors, you know, we really have to bring it. We know it's going to be our last go around, so we want to make it as far as we can. And I think we're all just focusing on, you know, taking it, being in the present and taking it, you know, one game at a time, not looking ahead, you know, not focusing on the wrong thing, but just, you know, enjoying it with your teammates and focusing on that game you're playing.
All the madness kicks off this Friday, March 17th at 4:30 Arizona time. The number 8 seeded Sun Devils will take on the number 9 seeded Michigan State Spartans in Columbus, South Carolina. Reporting from the Carson Center in Tempe, I'm Chaz Frazier, Cronkite Sports.
So the women's basketball team is at the big dance, yet the men's team, they're at home. Season complete. 15 wins, 18 losses, and a bouncing from the Pac-12 tournament in the second round. The season started clean, but then 3 top 15 opponents, including number 1 Kentucky, led to almost a pair of 40-point losses. And, well, Gavin, certainly not an ego booster.
And it didn't get much better from there, Andrew. Sam Cunliffe, star freshman, he transfers, and then things got a little bit weird. There were the free throws to beat Colorado at the last second, 2 double-digit comebacks against USC, the one that worked, the one that didn't, and then, of course, Torian Graham raining holy fire on the city of Palo Alto, not once but twice. That was pretty cool.
Now, Gavin, this is ASU, though, so a lot of so close yet so far moments. Arizona State dropped only 43 points on the road against Cal, the lowest total of this season, but then only fell a point shy against Oregon on the road. No one's beat them at home in almost 2 seasons.
And as so often happens in our lives, they go to Las Vegas, nothing to lose, and they beat the Stanford Cardinal, 3rd time, just for fun, and then their season ends against that same Oregon Ducks team despite Torian Graham going off. That's how it goes sometimes.
That's ASU basketball in a nutshell. Best of luck next season, though. They're a young team and a lot of good recruits coming in.
And now we head on to a season that's still going on and going well. ASU softball is 19-5, and our own Michael Barron caught up with the team heading into conference play.
They have that confidence and they know what to expect. They know what they're about to enter into. So I'm in a good place with them. I think that they're going to come out and keep us in ball games in PAC. I mean, the PAC right now, you have, 4 of the teams in the top 10. And that's why you play in the PAC, though. That's why, you know, it's a conference of champions. And that's the whole reason why you come and you want to compete. So I'm confident that they're going to come out. And obviously I feel good. They're in a good place mentally. But they've got the skill set to keep us in a lot of ball games.
It definitely boosted our confidence, I want to say. I mean, we work so hard in practice every day that just coming out here and seeing what we can do against a great team, it just gives us a lot of confidence and going into Pac-12. So, and we're really excited, you know, to travel this weekend. So, well, it's coming up weekend, but yeah, so we're excited.
Washington's obviously really good. They've had some not so good losses in the past couple weeks, so that has nothing to do with us the next week, but really good to get our bats going, really good for our pitchers to get some good innings in and to throw up some zeros. Obviously, this confidence booster was great, but we're going to have to buckle down for next week.
So now Arizona State softball, they head into conference play, as you just heard. And we welcome in Paige Burnell, making her Cronkite Sports Live debut. And Paige, this Washington team actually pretty similar to the Sun Devils.
Yes, they are. The Huskies are 21-3 in our 7-game win streak, and your ASU Sun Devils are 19-5 and on a 6-game win streak. Very similar teams, and I guess that's only fitting because this game series here this week represents the start of conference play for both clubs.
And that makes sense. And in fact, the pitching staffs for both these teams also pretty similar. It's not just the records.
True. You have the finishers that Trisha Ford relies on the most in Dale Rendak and Brianna Maha, but she also has her freshmen Alyssa Loza and Giselle Juarez. On the Huskies, they have senior Tara Alvelo, who is 12-1, as well as freshman Samantha Manti, who is 4-0. They've both got a lot of depth in the pitching, and that's going to play a huge role in the outcome of the series this weekend.
So given those factors, two teams very similar, I think that would lead to a competitive series. Who do you think comes out on top?
Despite the fact that ASU outscored Nebraska last week 28-2, I can only see them winning one of these games this week. The Huskies are a formidable opponent, probably one of the best that ASU has faced, and I'm seeing a 2-1 loss here for them.
All right, so a tough break for the Sun Devils potentially. Thanks so much for coming on, Paige.
Thanks for having me, Gavin.
So the weather here in the Valley is already heating up, and for ASU lacrosse, they've used that as their opportunity to heat up their play. Winners of their last 4 straight, and head coach Todd McRobbie seems to have his team rolling at just the right time. Much to talk about and look forward to as we approach the MCLA postseason. Jacob Franklin helps break it all down for us in today's CSL Conversation.
Thanks, guys. The Arizona State men's club lacrosse team has been riding a hot streak of late as they've won the last 4 games that they've played, including upsetting the Utah Utes and ending their run to a perfect season. Now, Spencer, Jack, the team struggled a bit to open up the season. So what exactly has been the catalyst going forward this year?
I'd say it has to be the defense. The defense has been a very pleasant surprise for ASU this season. They came in the season with a lot of questions because they're a really young defense. But freshman Cade Nora and sophomores Cole Campbell and Niall McLaughlin have really stepped up and have matured beyond their years. And also, junior Nathan Blair has really led that defense like we expected him to. And if you look in goal, Johnny Perliti has been an absolute monster this year. Brick wall, he has 124 saves, which is top 5 in MCLA Division I. So that defense has really been holding it down, and I see them doing it in the future.
Now, Jack, a good defense needs to be paired with a good offense. So what have you been seeing on the offensive side of the ball that's kind of taking the Sun Devils to new levels?
Yeah, it's been, I think, a growing cohesion on offense. We saw early in the year they were really focused on passing the ball around, taking their time on offense, and being deliberate with their possessions. Lately, though, it's been completely different. They're getting the ball forward quickly, they're taking shots quickly, they're getting into their big scores of Jake Markins and Brett Rogers. We're seeing it both pay off for them. Markins had a 6-goal game a couple weeks ago against Virginia Tech. Rogers had a 5-goal game on this road trip. And also, I think we're seeing the midfield growing together. Guys like Ben Parietti and Emerson Roth, they're new to this team. I think it's taken them some time to sync up with Tommy Carrasco and some of the other returners. We're seeing it now. They're scoring goals and they're winning games.
Mm-hmm. Now, going forward, in order to keep this hot streak flowing, who's going to be the big guys that we need to see step up?
The young midfielders, both freshmen, Emerson Ross and Brandon Rogers, they've been really good during this win streak. They've combined for 15 points on the season, and most of those points have come during the win streak. Coach Todd McRobbie, he's been giving them a lot more minutes, and they've been getting a lot more opportunities, and they've really been meshing with the older guys, and they're kind of accepting them in, making them part of the team, part of the offense. It's been really great to see for that team, and I see them doing that down the road after the moment.
Yeah, the young guys have definitely taken over this team as time has gone on, and I don't think this question could have been posed toward the beginning of the year. With the MCLA championships coming up in probably about a month, do the Sun Devils have a shot to go into the tournament and upset some people?
You know, I think we'll get a better idea of that in a couple weeks. Their second to last game of the regular season is against third-ranked Grand Canyon University. But I think when you look at them right now, we're seeing the veterans mixing with the talented young guys. They've had some transfer guys come in, and I think the biggest part is, as Spencer said, Johnny Perliti in net. He's been so good for them. If you have a hot goalie, if you have a few hot scores, you can go far in these tournament-type championships. So I think if they
some tweets of the week.
Absolutely do. That's right. For this first tweet here, that's ASU Baseball's own Andrew Snow getting up from the slide. The tweet reads, coming back from spring break, and you know what? That's extremely relatable.
True.
How was your spring break?
Well, first, Ryan, just want to comment the shirt and tie combo, first day in style at CSL. But really, I don't think either of us got a whole lot of sun. I was broadcasting Arizona State baseball. Gavin out in Las Vegas. At least he's having a little fun out at men's basketball tournament.
Relative term, Andrew.
But, overall, just a pretty kickback week for us on spring break. All ASU sports related. Can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong at all. And now for this second tweet, we're going to take a look at ASU football's N'Keal Harry during spring practice, saying next year is a movie. Believe that. Now, you guys, ASU football, what kind of movie do you think they're going to put on?
I got you in this one, Ryan. I've been thinking about this for a while, at least since we did our rundown, and I came up with this is the end. You have James Franco, you have Seth Rogen, you have some stars that represents the N'Keal Harrys in the group, but ultimately a tough schedule brings the Sun Devils down next year and an end to the Todd Graham era in Tempe.
You know what? I think I'm going to throw in, a little bit of Bad News Bears.
I like it.
We're going to see something like that.
I like that.
All right, now for this third and final tweet, ASU's baseball coach, Tracy Smith, a big old plastic fork there saying, hey, can we get an actual pitchfork instead of using this plastic one? ASU men's hockey coach Greg Powers responding, saying, you guys can use our pitchfork anytime. You got to love two ASU teams coming together for a common cause.
All right, so we all know, guys, ASU #1 in innovation. I'm going to suggest some innovation to you, Andrew. What if ASU throw away the bats, they hit with the pitchforks from now on? How does that help them?
Man, well, I'd have to imagine you're increasing the weight about twice in the hands of the hitter. But, that pitchfork, I think it would extend the majority of the strike zone and honestly help this ASU offense out a bit. If I had to, say overall, though, I love to see Tracy Smith, Greg Powers, a couple of the really rising Division I coaches right now in ASU athletics getting along. They're both good personalities on Twitter. Greg Powers has been in here before, so love to see those guys interacting and becoming friends.
Absolutely.
So it's Ryan Red, looking dapper as ever on this St. Patty's Day. Thanks so much, Ryan. In the meanwhile, we go back to the Phoenix Muni, where the Sun Devils opened Pac-12 Conference in a big way against #2 Oregon State. It was a close game yesterday, 2-0 final. Blaine McCormick and Rob Werner were on hand for the post-game conversation.
A low-scoring 2-0 loss is what happened here at Phoenix Muni in favor of the #2 ranked Oregon State Beavers. I'm Blaine McCormick, joined along by baseball analyst Rob Werner. Rob, thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me, Blaine.
So biggest thing from tonight is the pitching of Oregon State. It was incredible what they did on the mound tonight. 8 Ks for Luke Heimlich tonight. What did you see from him?
Luke Heimlich controlled the strikes on the entire game. He only allowed 2 hits, not one until the 5th inning. He really controlled everything about the Sun Devils offense, really prevailed against a team that was averaging 5.56 runs per game. He looked great against the Sun Devils tonight.
Now, Rob, you mentioned the 2 hits that Arizona State was able to rack up tonight. Now, we're not usually used to seeing these guys only rack up 2 hits in a ball game. What tendencies did you see from them tonight, and what do they need to improve on for the next 2 games in the series?
Well, the Sun Devils really didn't do too much wrong tonight. The pitcher, Luke Heimlich, for Oregon State was just amazing. He went 8 innings, only allowing 2 hits and no earned runs. He was flawless tonight. The way he pitched was masterful, and the Sun Devils really need to try to get out in front of the pitcher, Bryce Mel, tomorrow. If they want a chance to win the game, they really need to try to not have to come back, because the past 4 games, they've started trailing in the games.
And especially with scoring early and making sure that, like you said, getting out in front on the pitcher. Let's talk about Arizona State's pitching tonight. Eli Lingos was the starter on the mound. Not a great game, but not a bad one either. He had 5 strikeouts, and he said in the press conference that his confidence is building, and he's a much more confident pitcher than he was last season. Have you seen that same confidence from him?
Oh, completely. Eli Lingos looks like a beast on the mound this year. He's turned into a bona fide ace for the Sun Devils. He's got a sub-3 ERA. Really looked great tonight. He gave up 2 runs in the first inning, but after that he cruised, pitching 6 more innings, only allowing 6 hits in 7 innings while striking out, like you said, 5 Oregon State Beavers. He really pitched well tonight, but the Sun Devils couldn't compete with Luke Heimlich of the Oregon State Beavers.
Well, we'll see if the tides are going to turn tomorrow for the Arizona State Sun Devils. Games at 4 o'clock here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, and then Saturday the games at high noon. Make sure to catch it live here at Phoenix Muni. For Rob Werner, I'm Blaine McCormick reporting for Cronkite Sports Live. Thanks for tuning in.
Coming off a Pac-12 championship 2 weeks ago in Palo Alto, it's hard to imagine this season getting any better for Arizona State wrestling. But there is a cherry on the proverbial sundae, and his name Zahid Valencia. Valencia is attempting to join Penn State's Cale Sanderson and Illinois' Isaiah Martinez as just the third freshman in NCAA history to pull off an undefeated year. After knocking off Michigan's Miles Amin in the quarterfinals this morning, Valencia takes on Penn State's Mark Hall for an opportunity to earn a berth in the championship of the 174-pound belt. No Sun Devils remain in St. Louis outside of Valencia as his brother Anthony was eliminated and Tanner Hall lost in heavyweights. That being said, Zahid will have an opportunity to take one step closer, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, only on ESPN.
Well, now elsewhere in the gym with another group heading to Palo Alto to compete for a conference title, women's gymnastics. ASU wrapped up their home slate last Friday, and well, let's just say they could use a bit of Irish luck going into the next few days. 1-5 in meets during the conference year. The gymnast to watch is Becca Conrad, the only senior on the team nearing the close of her college career. First session of the tournament begins at 1 p.m. on Saturday, then session 2 at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
ASU baseball. Well, you know what? Before we even get into that, Andrew, I got to explain the rules of the game. This is the way it is. I throw 3 questions at Andrew. Andrew throws 3 questions at me, and then our producer Troy Tauscher determined who's the better human being of the two of us.
This is a big week. We're even 1-1.
So the rubber match.
Bragging rights.
All right, ASU baseball, they have their hands full this weekend. They take on Oregon State, the number 2 ranked team in the country. I'm not going to ask you if they win the series because that's ridiculous. Do they win a game?
You know, I say Oregon State's going to end up sweeping this series. Like you said, number 2 team in the country. If they were going to win a game, it needed to be yesterday when Eli Lingos, really their only consistent arm as a starter, was on the hill. He threw a great game. He went 7 innings, but it was a 2-0 game. I don't think ASU has the pitching to carry themselves to a win at any point in this series, but we'll have to see. All right, going back to Zahid Valencia, he's interested you and I just all year. This guy is a beast. Do you think he can be perfect this season and win the 174 class in the NCAAs?
You know, I think he can, Andrew, because Zeke Jones and ASU Wrestling, they've been throwing top-notch competition at him all season, and he just keeps on winning. He takes on another freshman in Penn State's Mark Hall. I think that'll be an easy one for him. And then in the championship, it's one of 2 guys he's already beaten this year, so I like where Valencia is going. It's March. We got to talk about the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
The women's team is dancing, as we told you earlier in the show. How far do you think they go, Andrew?
You know, I'd love to see them go to the Sweet 16 because that'll bring them to Stockton, California, my hometown. The arena there hosting the Sweet 16 for the first time. But they have South Carolina in their bracket as the 1 seed. They're going to have to face them if they make it to the round of 32, and they're in South Carolina. So I don't see them getting past that round. It would be awesome to see them in the Sweet 16 at least. All right, Gavin, let's go to spring football, starting up for ASU already. The quarterback conversation is the big one, but who are you looking at outside of that competition, a different player than the quarterback to look for?
I'll give you 2, Andrew.
Okay.
Wide receivers from either side of the Red River rivalry. You have John Humphrey from the University of Oklahoma, quite possibly the fastest wide receiver on Arizona State already. And then Ryan Newsom, highly rated recruit. And the thing is, he was recruited by Billy Napier, so they're already familiar with one another. I think that worked out perfectly. Now, Andrew, the hypothetical to end all hypotheticals.
Right.
Arizona State basketball, keep in mind, not a very good college team this year. They take on the NBA champions, the 2008 Boston Celtics. How does that one go on this St. Patrick's Day?
That's an appropriate St. Patty's Day question. You're talking like the original Big 3 before the whole NBA became a mess. But, you know, I say you have to look at the matchups. You have Cody Justice versus Ray Allen. You have Torian Graham versus Paul Pierce. But then Kevin Garnett, hypothetically, against the entire team, he could take on just about anyone. I mean, I would give the Celtics probably a 75-point win at least.
Oh, that's conservative, maybe.
Yeah. Torian Graham, Paul Pierce, probably the best matchup on the floor, I would have to say, in that one. So let's wrap it up with a fun one for you too, Gavin. Going back to March Madness, tons of Cinderella stories throughout the years. What's been your favorite? What team out of all of them would you like to be a part of?
You know, I love that George Mason team that made the Final Four. It really got me into college basketball. But let's go 2010 Butler. Of course, Gordon Hayward missing the half-court buzzer beater against that Duke team. Here's the thing, Andrew. I think I would have made it. I know Hayward's in the NBA now. I know he's really good, but come on. You got to hit that shot. That would have been the greatest moment in basketball history. I think I could have done it.
All right, let's send it inside the production booth and see who gets bragging rights in this one.
It's going to be an embarrassing picture of one of us. Oh, nope,
wow.
just my embarrassing
Straight
face.
to Gavin. You got it.
All right. After a rough, injury-plagued, and completely average start to the year, I have heard a lot of discontent towards ASU baseball. In the preseason coaches poll, Arizona State was picked to finish the season right in the middle of the pack, 6th overall. At first glance, that seems respectable, as they are a young team with just 4 seniors on the roster. But before we jump to conclusions, I just want to remind folks how last season transpired. The Utah Utes were coming off one of the worst seasons in 2015, 7-22 in conference, and picked to finish again right at the bottom. Instead, Utah went 19-11 last year. They won the Pac-12, proving doubters wrong, yet in the end, it was Arizona, the third-place team in the conference. Nothing special, fighting through the postseason and falling 1 win short of a College World Series championship. The Pac-12 is a weird place where no team is ever safe, nor can they ever be doubted. So strap in, grab your baseball cap, because college baseball is back, and that's the way it is. And now we roll on to top plays, Andrew.
All right, yeah, well said, Gavin. First play goes to the softball diamond, Farrington Stadium, and it is the senior leader, Chelsea Gonzalez. Runners on the corners, and she goes deep to center to make it a 3-0 game in the bottom of the first. ASU really rolled through Nebraska in that series, swept them, beat them because of the mercy rule twice. So they're rolling right now. ASU softball on a hot streak.
And we told you they have to take on that tough Washington team next. Play number 2, Andrew Shaps. This one to tie it up. He does it, doing his best Barry Bonds impersonation. No enhancement for Shaps. He ties the game, and he sets up our top play, Andrew. This one potentially to win it for the Sun Devils.
I know, right? I mean, he's going to make a nice long stroll here. He's clearly pumped, and there goes the ball cap, and the guy is really bald.
Legally pumped, that is.
So, I mean, the only thing better than a walk-off, or a tying home run, rather, is a walk-off error, right? Sam Ferry bounces one to second, and the throw is short. Ryan Lillard slides in to win it 7-6 over Long Beach State. Again, game 1 last weekend. Sun Devils just always find a way in the very end to pull off walk-off winners.
Yeah, so Andrew, I see the green tie. Any exciting St. Patrick Day's plans tonight?
I think just going out with some buddies. I don't know. Maybe
you are of legal age.
Absolutely. I mean, ASU baseball, they serve beer. I assume a lot of folks are going to be there tonight with Oregon State in town. It's the big.
It's going to be a good one.
It's a big matchup. Friday night baseball. So that wraps us up here at Cronkite Sports Live. Thanks so much for joining us. For Andrew Chapman and Gavin Shaw, we wish you a great rest of your St. Patty's Day, and we'll see you next time live right here. Follow us on social media as well for all your ASU sports coverage. See you later.